Hello guys, what is going on? I'm Nosda and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be giving my perspective, review, reaction, whatever, on Ant-Man and the Wasp issue 1. Obviously, a part of the new run and one of the biggest titles, one of the first titles of the new runs, um, because the movie is coming up. Just a little side note if you didn't know, and if you're not from America, or not from any other part of the world, because we're from UK and everyone thinks we're like Steve Football or whatever, like we're all called that. Um, Marvel have decided to push Ant-Man and the Wasp back a month, so I am going to have to watch a shitty cam like a week after the movie is out everywhere else, because I'm not waiting a month for an MCU movie when I usually see them on opening day. I actually have for the past 2 years, and now I'm going to have to wait a month to see it in cinemas. Anyway, ran over. Ant-Man and the Wasp. My perspective from this one, if you want to know, because I have never ever read an Ant-Man and the Wasp title. I did read an Infinity Countdown Prime issue in which Ant-Man was part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, or with them anyway. So I knew that bit. So when it came to it, when he explained that, I already knew, and that was the thing. But Mark Waid, as like he is on a few comics in this new sort of reboot, soft reboot anyway, basically just a numbering reboot just to get people on board. He's a writer on this, and it feels a lot different to Doctor Strange. It feels like it has a lot more heart to it, and it feels like it flows a lot better. And overall, it just feels like it's got a lot more love. Now, whether that's because of his feelings to do with like the characters or what, or whether it's the people he's collaborating with. On the front cover, it's Javier Garon and Israel Silva. I don't know how to say those names, sorry. But just looking at the art alone, I mean, just the way the story flows, it flows much better than Doctor Strange. And if you watch my Doctor Strange review, if you didn't, then make sure to go and do that, because I feel like it's pretty good. It's another first issue one, so you get to see my first impressions, whether you want to pick up the series or not. I recommend you do, just from this video. But in that one, they really misuse narration, like sort of like omniscient narration, which they tend to do in a few comics, but like Doctor Strange really misused it in my opinion, and really made that comic just not as good as it could have been. I still rather enjoyed it, but with this is like one page, and that was it, and it was just a bit of backstory. Not even that. It was a good comedic effect as well. It was very good comic relief straight away. Well, not really relief because you weren't relieving anything. But just the art on every panel is just so nice. I mean, just looking at this straight away, that's really nice. But then again, when we go to the Atom world, just oh my god! I just got chills just looking at that page. Not this one. This one. That it just looks so good. If they're gonna have art like this every single issue, then I'm gonna be gobbling it up. I love it. It looks so nice. Every single panel. Just look at this one. Look at it. Oh, it's so good. The writing is fine. It is nothing too great about it. It doesn't. Within the first few pages, within like the first 2 or 3 pages, even though I haven't read an Ant-Man comic before, and even if I hadn't have seen the 2 movies that Ant-Man is in for the MCU, I would know perfectly what the 2 personalities are of Nadia and Scott, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I would have known. I know their personality types. I know exactly what they should say in different conversations, and I'm never disappointed with that expectation. It works out perfectly every conversation. I'm like, they would say that. I mean, it's not like it's so run of the mill that it's boring. It's like it doesn't feel out of place. No, everything. It's like this comic was worked on a lot more than any of the first issue comics I've read so far, just because it just overall feels like it's been refined and perfected, obviously due to the movie coming out soon. I assume they wanted this first issue in particular to be really good, to get people hyped for the movie, and also people might be hyped for the comic because the movie is coming out, and they want to read comics for the first time potentially, or just read Ant-Man for the first time, like I'm doing. If Ant-Man was not in the MCU, I probably wouldn't have picked this up. To be honest, it probably wouldn't have been a running series right now anyway. Ant-Man wasn't super huge before the movie, like a lot of characters like Guardians of the Galaxy, which seems to be in every single comic run right now, which is really weird, reference or otherwise. Um, but yeah, like the writing is fine. The art is amazing. The characters are expected, like like I say, run of the mill but not boring. And the story seems to be pretty cool. And also because I don't know any of the story beats of what a normal Ant-Man comic is supposed to be like. This is pretty batshit to me. Some of the stuff, like how it ends, it's just like what is happening. I literally have no idea what it could be. Like I couldn't do a theory video on it or anything. Even though if I had like some wealth of knowledge of Ant-Man and how like the multiverse works within the logic of the Marvel movies, I don't need like a space degree, a science degree to know that, a physics degree. Um, then I might have some sort of like, or just like any of the story beats in Ant-Man in general, like, oh, what could happen, what's happened previously in terms of arc, in terms of just general storytelling. And then I might be able to tell you, but like her eyes turn red, and I'm like, first of all, that looks really, really cool. For me personally, just on a personal level, I really hate eye stuff. When eye stuff, like when people touch their eyes when they put in contacts, and I thought this might freak me out a bit, honestly. But no, it just looks super cool, and I'm really excited how it was. I'm really happy with how it was built up as well, because it was really good writing. Actually, it was a full page of Nadia. Well, she did a little quip, right? Um, she did a little quip, like a little catchphrase, and then all of a sudden she looked like she was about to cry because she realized that she couldn't get back to Earth. But really, what happened was she was potentially going blind, or she was seeing different things. Maybe everything turned red. Maybe she thought her eyes were bleeding, and that just like it was a total of five. It was a total of 5 panels with like an integrated panel at the end. A total of 5 panels, potentially, if you want to count no, it's definitely 5. If you want to count it as 4, then that's up to you, because one of it's just a close up. But for that all to be conveyed in 4 panels, and for me to be in 4 panels to completely believe that she's upset because she can't get back home, and then it to change a full entire page just for her face and that reveal, and then a massive to be continued sign. That is the first massive to be continued font that I've seen actually, which is surprisingly weird. But let me just okay, I'm done talking about the story. Let me just go back to the art set, because I thought it did like a bit of disrespect with like not being able to pronounce the names right. But specifically Javier and Israel. I'm sorry, I know I'm saying that name wrong, but the artist and Israel Silva, who's a color artist, my God, you did a really, really good job. And David Nakayama, who did the cover art, it's not the same palette, which I think is good, but look at how that jumps out at you. If you didn't know anything about comics and you were just walking along the shelf, you would definitely see this and you would want to pick it up. Overall, I am incredibly impressed with this first issue. I highly recommend you picking it up, even if you don't like the Ant-Man character. Like, but honestly, I didn't really like the Scott Lang character. Like, for the first half of the comic, I didn't really like it. But then when he showed his heroic side, that was really cool, because like he seemed like a klutz, like very clumsy, and he seemed kind of disrespectful towards Nadia. But that might just be like their sort of relationship, and it might work better. But if later, when I get to know him more, but straight away he seemed like kind of a knob. But then later on, when he obviously got his heroic side, where he showed his heroic side, saying like they're living things, we need to protect them, then you know it like turned itself around, and I began to like the Scott character. Nadia, just a final point on Nadia, she's like pretty run of the mill. But I'm looking forward to see how she reacts to having potentially the thing that they killed inside her. Who knows? And now, because she's like the major brains gone, Scott Lang might have to figure this out on his own. And so that's going to be pretty interesting. Even though it isn't Ant-Man the Wasp story, seeing Ant-Man deal with the science stuff, and maybe seeing Wasp deal with her morals, I have no idea. That'll be like a pretty interesting dynamic. But anyway, I have already reviewed Doctor Strange and Deadpool on my channel. Sorry for hitting the mic. I'm going to be reviewing Justice League as well later today, probably within the hour of this going up, honestly. Um, because they are restarting Justice League as well. And the only comic I'm currently caught up to in the DC universe is The Flash, so that might have a bit of a limited perspective. Maybe if I caught with Batman or Green Lantern, then that might be better. But we shall see. Like I said, I had no idea about any of these characters going into it other than what I've seen in the movie. Nadia isn't even in the movies. And it was just very impressive nonetheless. But yeah, see you next time. Goodbye.